thought was a bad spot myself, because I'm thinking, back in the day, I'd be flying down that road to go to Juco and then hang left real quick and
No, right.
That'd be just my luck too.
Right.
The mayor reappoints every year.
Oh, Rick, huh?
2 or 3 years. Wow. Can you do me a favor?
Call the July 18, 2019 Planning Mission to order. Start with roll call.
Mr. Caparelli?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Dillon?
Here.
Ms. Fide?
Here.
Mr. Kella?
Here.
Mr. Mistic?
Here.
Mr. Roussanellis?
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, the first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the June 20th, 2019 Plan Commission meeting.
Do we have a motion for the minutes?
So moved. All right, second.
Call roll.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Fide?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Mistic?
Aye.
Mr. Roussanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Caparelli?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is citizens to be heard on agenda items. This is for anyone wanting to speak regarding items listed on the agenda, except for items listed under public hearing. Anyone speaking on an agenda item is entitled to speak for a maximum of 4 minutes.
We wish to speak on agenda items.
Okay, moving on. Our next item would be old business public hearing, PUD-5-19, and that is the preliminary planned unit development of Timber Point subdivision, and PUD-6-19, the final planned unit development of Timber Point subdivision. The applicant in this matter is Tallgrass Estates LLC, who was also the owner and developer. Requested action, approval of a preliminary and final planned unit development plat. Purpose is to construct a 120-unit townhome development. Existing zoning is R4, and that's multifamily residential. The location is the southeast corner of McDonough Street and the I-55 Southeast Frontage Road. Size of the property in question is 20.3 acres. It is currently undeveloped. Surrounding land use and zoning: to the north is multifamily R4. To the south is undeveloped A1 unincorporated Will County. To the east is undeveloped A1 unincorporated Will County. To the west is residential R3 unincorporated Will County. Under site history, the annexation and zoning classification to R4 multifamily residential of the subject site and a preliminary PUD for Emerald Ridge subdivision were approved by the Mayor and City Council at their meeting in October of 2003. Emerald Ridge subdivision was never further platted, and the time frame to consider it a valid subdivision has lapsed. A preliminary PUD for Tallgrass Estates subdivision was tabled by the Plan Commission in June 2016 and never brought back for review. Under special information, the preliminary planned unit development for Timber Point subdivision consists of 120 townhome units on 3 lots. The density for the 20.3 acre site is 5.91 dwelling units per acre, which meets the requirement for 6 units per acre maximum in the R4 zoning district. The developer is proposing to construct 6 16-unit buildings and 2 12-unit buildings. All units will have 2 bedrooms. The buildings will consist primarily of brick exterior material, but will also include some vinyl siding material. Approximately half the units would have access to one of the 14 proposed garages, which will be constructed of brick wainscoting and vinyl. Additional parking and guest parking areas will be provided along the individual driveway areas. Lot 1 will include the subdivision stormwater management pond. A future clubhouse is being proposed internally, but elevations and floor plans are not available as of the writing of the staff report. The main street within the subdivision will be privately owned and maintained by the Future Management Company Association. All public improvements will be required as per the subdivision regulations and Public Works and Utilities Department. A 30-foot wide landscaped berm will be established along the McDonough Street frontage. The developer has stated that they have an agreement with the Joliet Park District to create and establish a 3.5-acre dog park on Lot 3 of the subdivision. Water and sewer connection fees, school donation fees, and the developer impact fee will be required. Financial plans, marketing plans, and phasing plans have been requested but not received as a writing of the staff report. And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add that our engineering staff is still needing to receive and review some plans. So any motion for approval of this request should be conditional. And that completes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any comments or questions from the commission?
Okay, we did get it.
Petitioner?
Hi, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Rod Tonelli, Rudiger Tonelli and Associates on behalf of the applicant. Just a couple of things to add and clarify. So we're glad to be back before you. You actually did recommend approval of this project back in 2016. At the time, we had 156 units in there, which exceeded the density requirement. We've since revised it down, so it meets that. We've been through a number of neighborhood meetings with residents who live to the north in the Timber Oaks development, and they're happy with the project as well. So we think at this point we're glad to be able to go forward. One of a clarification, I think the staff report indicated all units are 2 bedrooms. It's actually going to be a mix of 2-bedroom and 1-bedroom units in the buildings, but otherwise everything else was accurate in the staff report. And the developers are here as well, so if you have any questions for us, we'd be happy to take them.
I have a question. I take it you're going to put the curb in on the McDonough side of the street then?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else have
Mr. Chairman,
some questions?
are these condos or apartments?
They're the same buildings that are built across the street in Timber Oaks, which are built as condos. The intention here is that they'll be rental.
They'll be what?
That they would be rental
Rental.
units, yes.
Okay.
They can be, but the ways the buildings are designed, every unit has its own exterior entrance, and they are the same exact buildings that are condos across the street. But the intention here is that it'll be a rental community.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Any comments or questions from the citizens? Kendall, you said there was a couple of requirements that still need to be done before the motion can be passed?
Yeah, a point of clarification. Staff just verified that the financial plans, marketing plans, and the phasing plan, that has been submitted. The only thing that we still need to receive is some engineering documents.
So yeah, we're just finalizing some changes that need to be made to the engineering plans. Those are going back into Public Works staff tomorrow. So I think the staff's request to you is to make a recommendation with the condition that it's still subject to engineering review by the Public Works staff.
You're making that recommendation that if they made it, then it's okay, you're okay?
Correct, yes.
Are the builders also the people that will be managing the property?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have a motion from somebody for this project?
Yes, conditional motion to approve PUD-5-19 and PUD-6-19.
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Bidey?
Oh,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm not quite sure if we asked for comments from the audience, pro or con.
wait.
I think you did.
Yeah, I
Yeah, we
did ask
asked.
comments.
Okay.
I didn't-
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
This is fun.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Mystic?
Aye.
Mr. Roosnellis?
Aye.
Mr. Caparelli?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye, on the conditions.
I just want to verify aye as well, just in case.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Next.
Okay, next item on the agenda is Z-2-19. Oh, I'm sorry. Where am I at, Karen? So why am I missing C? Yeah, I think I'm missing one. There we go. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Next item on the agenda actually is old business, no public hearing. We have no items. We'll move to new business public hearing, and the first item under that heading is V-2-19, and that's the vacation of a 5-foot by 65-foot portion of a 25-foot wide public utility and drainage easement. The applicant in this matter is Maria and Michael Farini. They are the property owners. Requested action, vacation of a portion of a public utility easement. Purpose is to allow construction of a patio. Location 3414 Timberlake Drive. The size of the easement is 5 feet by 65 feet. Existing land use is single-family residential. Surrounding land use and zoning. To the north is R2 single-family residential. To the south is R2 single-family residential, as well as east and west. Under site history, this property is located in Old Renwick Trail subdivision, which was annexed and zoned R2 along with a preliminary plat in August 2000. The city approved the recording plat for Unit 2 in 2003. Under special information, it was brought to the city's attention in June 2019 that the property owners never obtained a building permit for the patio that they had built at this property in 2005. The property owner submitted a building permit for a patio in June. When the city reviewed the permit application, it was determined that the existing patio encroached 5 feet into the 25-foot wide public utility and drainage easement. Therefore, the petitioners wish to vacate a 5-foot by 65-foot portion of a 25-foot wide public utility and drainage easement in order to keep the 40-foot by 16-foot concrete patio that the petitioners constructed, which is encroaching into the utility easement. The approval of the vacation would allow the petitioners to keep the patio that encroaches into the portion of the easement. The city's Public Works Department and Utilities Department have no issues with this vacation request. There is an 18-inch storm sewer along the rear of this easement, but it is not located within the area in question. NICOR has no issues with this request. At the time of the writing of the staff report, AT&T and Commonwealth Edison have not responded. The city approved a similar vacation request in June of last year for the neighboring house at 3416 Timberlake Drive. At that time, AT&T indicated that they had utilities buried along the rear of this easement, but not within the area in question. The Old Renwick Trail Homeowners Association has also reviewed and approved the patio project. And that concludes the staff report, Mr. Chairman.
I have the petitioner.
Hi, Mr. Chairman.
Will you state your name and your address again?
This is my first time at a hearing like this, so hopefully you can hear me. My name is Michael Farini, and I am the husband of Maria Sandra Farini.
Okay, and you already have the pad on the easement?
Yes, sir. And we were excited homeowners back in 2004. It was the first house we had bought, and I think we had it put in 2005, and we apologize for not having put in for that. We didn't know that we had to. It was our fault.
Okay.
It looks like, oh, sorry. I was
Any
gonna
questions?
say, it looks like your neighbor has like an equal size, correct? Is that why you thought, at the time that it would be okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And we simply asked the commission to please approve this. It's been there for 14 years. We've never had any problems, and if any utility company ever wishes to access it, we'll be happy to do whatever it takes to make them happy.
My question is, it's there now. If we had to get back in there with equipment, machinery to dig up the pipes bust, and they do bust, so you do have to go back in, are we going to be able to drive a machine back there still, giving this away and do work?
Yes, so the fact that there is an easement there would provide a utility company the right to go onto the property to make repairs to any service that they have in the yard there. So the easement provides the right to do that. Even dismantling fences and, unfortunately, taking up portions of patios and decks and things like that to get to their service lines.
Okay, question, comment?
No, I was going to say, it seems like there's adequate room to do that.
Just want to make sure. Equipment can be big sometimes, I know.
And it did say in the staff report that utility were consulted and it was clear, right?
Yes, we had one utility company, Nicor, related to us that they had no issues. AT&T and Commonwealth Edison have not responded. But interestingly, for the neighboring house that had the same issue, AT&T did respond at that time that they had utilities at the rear of the easement, but not within the area that was being encroached on.
Are there any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Any questions or comments from the audience? Okay, seeing none, I guess there's a motion in order to
So
allow
approved.
it.
Second?
Call roll.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Mystic?
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Caparelli?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Fide?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I apologize. This next item, we do have a request from the petitioner to table this for 1 month, and I should have mentioned that at the top of the meeting. There was a companion piece at the zoning board meeting earlier this afternoon that was tabled as well. So a motion would be in order for tabling. And that would be Z-2-19, V-4-19, and P-4-19.
Is the petitioner here by chance?
The petitioner has elected not to show up, but they did converse with staff earlier that they would like to take time to take a further look at the project.
Take it further. That's all the only excuse they gave for tabling it?
Yeah, there was a neighborhood meeting related to this.
Oh.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Frank Petrich. I'm from WT Group. We are a consultant of Speedway. Last Thursday, we had a neighborhood meeting, July 11th, that we held for the project itself. During the meeting, approximately 100 people did show up. There was numerous comments that were made. In order to address the comments adequately and appropriately, we just requested to postpone to next month so that we can address the comments full order and everything like that.
So you're going to have another neighborhood meeting then?
I think they're just addressing
The comments?
the comments,
Yeah.
right?
That's it?
The comments that were brought up during the neighborhood meeting, we have it all written down and we're trying to get answers for them.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Any comments or questions from the citizens? State your name and the address for the record.
Pastor Dave Nygaard, Messiah Lutheran Church, and I live on 901 Douglas Street in Joliet. So just for clarification, so the meeting that he's referring to will be in this session a month from now, or it'll be in the same setting it was last time? Or?
Yes, Pastor, if I may, this meeting would be next month here in the council chambers at City Hall.
And is that announced in the newspaper for everybody to see, or?
We typically don't do another ad for anything that's being tabled, but we have adopted a policy to do notification within 600 feet, like we did the first time. So those notices will go out. We'll ask the petitioner to repost the property with the new information for the hearing next month.
Thank you.
What we do with the ad now too? Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, step up.
Following up on what you had asked, is there going to be another community meeting with Speedway prior to the next hearing in August?
Sounds like no to me.
You guys know?
They're just going to address the questions that were asked at the last community meeting.
So when do the neighbors of the project get to find out what their new plan is? So we can decide if we are for or against it?
I would say here.
Beg your pardon?
I would say here, right?
Yeah.
Here.
If we table this, then next month they'd have to come back and we'd have to have a discussion and vote on it to begin with. So next month, the third Thursday of the month, put the newsletter out and have the citizens show up here at 4 o'clock.
And Speedway will have an opportunity to then like show us any changes to their plan? Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Is there a motion on the floor to table this?
So moved.
Second.
Call roll.
Mr. Mystic?
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Caparelli?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Fide?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye to table.
Okay, so those items are tabled to the August 15th, 2019 Plan Commission meeting.
Yep.
Next item on our agenda, Mr. Chairman, is new business, no public hearing. We have nothing listed. We have nothing listed under study session. We have nothing listed under old or new business, not for final action or recommendation. At this point, we would entertain public comments regarding non-agenda items. And again, the 4-minute maximum speaking rule is in effect. Seeing no public comments, is there a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Second.
Oh, well.
Mr. Caparelli?
Aye.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
Ms. Fide?
Aye.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Mystic?
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Okay.